Do you experience a lot of stress in your daily life? Do you often find yourself feeling overwhelmed? I'm Dr. Beth. I am both a yoga teacher and a licensed clinical psychologist, and I am here to help with a practice for relieving stress. So today's practice is going to be yin yoga. Yin yoga is a slow, quiet practice, making it perfect for beginners, for restarters, for anyone who needs to calm the mind and nourish the body. So in this yin practice, we'll be doing just 3 poses. These 3 poses will give you an opportunity to find the shape of the body that feels most comfortable, and then to stay in that shape for about 3 to 4 minutes per pose. I have some blocks here. We'll be using the blocks for extra support in some of the poses, helping you to make the poses more comfortable in your body. The final pose will include a body scan, which is an additional way to encourage relaxation, both quieting of the mind and calming of the body. So if you're ready, have your blocks nearby, have your mat, and we're going to come down to lying face down into a prone position for our first pose, which is going to be Sphinx pose. We're going to come down to a prone position, so lying on our front. For a supported back bend, we'll either do Sphinx pose or seal pose. Well, help yourself around. So Sphinx pose, this is a pose that Hatha and Yin Yoga share. We're on our forearms. You're propped up. There may be some compression in your lower back, and that's where you feel skin and muscles and bones pressing against each other. That's fine, again, as long as it feels doable. We never want anything that's a sharp, a red flag, a stinging sensation, especially in the lower back. And if you're feeling any of that, you can move your arms out more. You can bring your lower ribs a little bit more to the ground. You can move the position of your feet anywhere that helps, and that includes bending your knees in this pose. So if you found a place where you're feeling a doable amount of compression in your low back and then some bit of stretch across the front, because back bends stretch the front of the body, you can stay right there. Or you can come into seal pose. I'm going to unbend my legs. In seal pose, the arms are maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width, and you're letting the weight settle into the arms. So the arms being plugged into the shoulder girdle, that's holding your weight. I'm going to move my hands forward a little bit more. The front of the pelvis is still on the mat. The lower ribs may be off the mat, but they're releasing toward the mat. And then again, you're finding the place where you can sustain. We'll hold this one for about 2 minutes. Now, I'm not using any props here. You can make this a more supported version by placing a block or even something softer like a blanket more toward the top of your ribs, somewhere under your chest. And that'll allow you to hold the pose, but with more support. I have my head more or less in line with my spine right now. You can also soften the chin and release the head. And this is another place where you can rest the forehead on a block or a few blocks if you prefer. This is one of those yin poses that may feel a bit more yang, because it does take a little bit of energy to hold you in this pose. And on a day that we're having pretty low energy, to exert just a bit of energy might feel really good and helpful. helpful. All right, last few breaths. One more full breath in, letting that breath be expansive, wide, or deep if that's doable. And then fully exhaling, releasing. And as you continue to let the air out, sinking your elbows back toward the mat, let your elbows come wide, make a little cushion for your forehead. And it might feel nice to put your head to one side and possibly to bend your knees. Do a few gentle windshield wipers here. Okay, one more time, use your hands to help yourself up. All right, you might want your props here again, so move them close if you think you might want to use them. You see I'm in a wide-legged position. Wide is relative. Wide might be here. Wide might be significantly wider than I'm taking my legs. That's up to you. I've been practicing yoga for a while, so I have the ability to pretty easily sit upright on my sits bones. If that's not doable for you, take something under your hips, under your sits bones, a blanket, a bolster if you have one, a cushion, a pillow, whatever. My knees are relatively straight, but you can have them bent. It's all about the sensations in yin. It's not about where you have your body positioned. So here, you may have already guessed that we're targeting somewhere along the inner thighs and the inner groin. You may be feeling it perfectly well seated just like this. I like to add in a little forward fold because that also then will target the low back, giving us a little stretch in that area. I'm going to move my blocks in front for that head support. Sometimes when I start this pose, I find that I can't reach the head support, especially not in this position, and so I'll just hang here until I feel some release in my body. So I'm going to see how that works, and you'll also see I don't have a lot of range to hinge forward in this pose. That's fine as long as I'm finding some sensation, and I do feel it here in my back. I'm feeling it in my groin. You can change the area where you're experiencing more of the sensation. And that's, again, usually by changing your limbs. Here you can let your toes flop out more. And that's actually that little bit of external rotation of my legs helps me feel it here a little bit more, so I'm going to stay with that. And you also have the option of letting your head start to release. I'm going to see if it finds the block. If it doesn't, I'll just hang there. So you see right now my head's not reaching the block. I could also adjust this so it's at a higher height. And I like this because it helps me to forget about trying to hold my head in a particular place and let myself release more into the pose. Now, if you find as you're here and you lose the sensation, so you're no longer really feeling anything, you actually don't have to adjust so that you feel sensation again. You can just stay in repose, stay with that feeling of release if that's what's happening for you in the pose. If you are using props and you find that as you're here for a little bit, the props in a slightly different position work better for you, you can make that adjustment. You can also take the props away completely, and that's what I'm going to do for the last few breaths. Feel your breath move through your body on the inhale
Release completely on the exhale. And one more. Breathe in. Full exhale. Slowly start to walk yourself back upright. Okay, so if you're using the props like I am, you'll take one block, and I have it on the medium height, and it's going to go right where my spine is. So this is going to be behind my back. The other block is actually going to serve as a pillow. It doesn't look like much of a pillow, but it will be. I know I like this on the high height just from experience. You might be different, and you'll have to see when you start to lean back. We'll turn around so that your back is toward your block setup, and then I'll reach behind me so that this block touches somewhere between my lower shoulder blades. So it's going to be toward the end of my shoulders as I come down on it. And it will probably feel a little stiff at first. That's totally fine. Then I'm going to find my pillow block. And where that block is going to go is right underneath the bony protrusions at the bottom of my skull, or the occipital lobe. So from here, the knees can stay bent. They can come into a soles together butterfly position. I particularly like to have my legs extended, so kind of a shavasana leg position, legs out long, flopped open, no effort in my feet or my legs. Now, this feels comfortable for me. The height of the head feels right so that my chin and my neck is not overly extended. You can change this up by taking the block that's behind your back, behind your spine, and putting it on the flat height. You can remove the block and put a rolled blanket along your spine instead. So as you're here, remind your body that it has nothing to do. There's nothing that has to work. Either the mat or the floor or the props are completely holding you. And we can touch base and do a little bit of a body scan to make sure that there's no tightness, there's no gripping. Starting with an awareness of the right foot, letting that foot be soft, maybe even a little bit more floppy. And then the left foot. You might find the urge to shift slightly as you release. Noticing or taking your awareness to both calves, shins, your right side and your left side. Allow both sides to be soft. Your thighs, the quads in the front, the hamstring muscles in the back, let all of those muscles be relaxed, not engaged. And notice the place where your pelvis, the backs of your hips are resting against the mat. Feel the space, whether it's just a little bit of space with your back lying on the mat or a larger space supported by the props. And then in your mid-back, your upper back, notice the spots that are touching. Feel your arms release to the floor. Take your attention to your left hand, your left fingers. Let them be relaxed and released. And then your right hand, your right fingers. Let those be soft and heavy. Feel the air move in and out of your front body. If you're on the props, you might notice that more in your upper chest. You might be able to sense the rising and falling. Draw your attention to your face. Let your jaw, your cheeks, your eyebrows, even your eye sockets be soft and relaxed. And let everything be supported as you stay here.
So what did you think of today's practice? Did you enjoy that little taste of a body scan at the end? If so, I have longer body scans that you can give a try. I also have yin practices if you like this slow and quiet form of yoga. Please give me a like to let me know how this worked for you. I'd love to read your comments and respond to you. Thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the rest of your day.